The shop on Union Street's been a year. The company itself, trading online as thistletavern.com, has been 2 years. I mean, we've been overblown by the success. I think we have been lucky. I think there's been tense moments, but never a falling out. That's what's important to just high streets in general, is like having spaces that people are going to go and sit and hang out.
People will travel for an experience, which is what they get when they come into a store like yours. They're not just coming in for something that's purely transactional.
You don't need to leave your desk to buy that thing that you were thinking of picking up. You can just order it and it'll get delivered at home.
Welcome back to Seasonal Discussions. It's another episode. It's still me hosting them. Sorry, we will have a better host coming in shortly. But for now, we are joined by Stuart Robb.
Yes.
Stuart, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Chris.
It's warm. Apologies now if the colouring starts to go off. This office gets incredibly warm after a while.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It sucks so much. But as we have experienced and established in the first couple of episodes, we are here to chat about people. Now, you're here from Thistle Tavern, located at the... Now, do you class it as the top end or bottom end of Union Street?
For me, it's the top end, mostly because I lived in Ferry Hill and then next to Harlaw, because my dad was the janitor there.
Yeah.
So we lived in the flat there. So for me, it's always been the top end is Holborn Junction.
Because it's uphill. For me, it's like Castlegate's the bottom of the hill. Up there was the top end. And there's always this debate amongst Abermoners about what's the top and what's the bottom end of Union Street. It's like...
Because you've got the square. The square is obviously the top. And it's like, well, it's not really a square.
It's more of a dead zone at this point in time. Although that's going to change with the tall shape.
Absolutely.
There's going to be loads going on up there. So Thistle Tavern has been established just over a year now.
The shop on Union Street's been a year. The company itself, trading online as Thistle-Tavern.com, has been 2 years.
2 years altogether. So it's been a year. It's not just you, though, is it? There's you and...
No, my business partner, Andrew. Me and Andrew, we used to work together at Active Payroll. It was Andrew that sort of got me back into Magic the Gathering. I'd played card games when I was younger, board game fan. So it was him that continued. He's been playing card games since he was little and continued all the way through. So when we were working together, he invited me out to Reset to start playing there, which we did for a few years before they unfortunately closed.
Yeah.
And it was their closure that sort of triggered me and Andrew to say, well, we want somewhere else to go and play. We should open somewhere ourselves. We didn't want to just jump into owning a store. It's not something either of us were ready to or to commit to at the time. We continued working full time, but we knew that we could start selling cards online. I have a software development background. I'm able to put together a website. Yeah. So we did that. We started selling online. Things were going great. Move on to the next step. We get to open the store in Union Street.
Yeah. There's been some massive reports coming out already about how successful said store on Union Street has been.
We've been overblown by the success. Certainly going into it, me and Andrew never had any intention of giving up our full-time roles. Yeah. In April, Andrew was able to give up his and go full-time with Thistle Tavern to help us continue to grow. We just want to capitalise this on much as we can.
Get as much attention out of it. It's a massive thing, especially with, like you said, Reset closing. So that was that the Reset that used to be down next to Nescall?
Yes, exactly.
Because they used to have the one in Golden... They were in Golden Square originally.
They were in Golden Square on North Silver Street, right at the bottom.
What were they called before it was Reset again?
Engage Gaming.
Engage, thank you. I worked in social care before I went back to college, and one of the guys I used to work with used to love spending like hours upon hours in Engage. It would be cool, what are we getting up to today? I want to go game it. Yeah. Cool, fine. I'm going to force myself to go and play.
I was only able to play and Engage a couple of times before they had to move out of there and into Reset instead. I think I only went into Reset once when it moved. Engage I was in a lot of the time. Especially, it was just like load up Hearthstone, and I'm just sitting playing Hearthstone the entire time on one of the PCs for hours. Exactly. Reset was a LAN cafe first and foremost, but it also offered the card games on the side, which was great for us, the space to go and play. Yeah. And obviously with Thistle Tavern, we don't have a LAN cafe. It's fully focused on the trading cards, which is what we wanted to do instead.
Yeah. Do you think there's a bit of a difference as well? Because I think that obviously you guys don't have like the cafe aspect, the food, the drink, and everything else going on. I think that puts a lot of extra pressure on some places. Look at like a Geek Retreat and stuff where they've got all these the full food menu and everything to cope with. I'm like, that's surely just an extra stress.
Yeah, we knew that going into it. We obviously discussed, because it's common practice for a lot of these types of gaming stores to have the cafe, because people are going to be in for hours. They're going to need food. They're going to need watered. We decided up front, neither of us are chefs. Neither of us have any interest in cooking. We don't want to have to bring in somebody specialized just to do that. It would also mean the location we have to pick is big enough for a kitchen. All that extra overhead, we immediately just discounted as no, we will just have an open food policy. Yeah. You bring it in, you clean it up.
Yeah. That's the one thing I always find, like, again, the Hearthstone, Pokemon cards, all sorts. I am in the realm with you. I am a nightmare at tidying up after myself when it comes to like actual pack openings and stuff. Do you think it's more of an issue with like folk leaving food rubbish behind, or leaving like opening pack rubbish behind instead?
I mean, pack rubbish and excess cards that people think they're being nice and on the table for others. It's like they're just going to go in the bin, guys. Just put them in the bin. It's fine. No, it's certain packs are worse than others. The Japanese style packs with a little tear strip. Yeah. It's that little tear strip that always seems to get discarded onto the floor for us to pick up.
Just gets left dotted around somewhere.
But no, I mean, generally speaking, everybody's great at tidying up after themselves. Yeah. Like generally, we've not really had an issue with that, and certainly with the food as well. We're not finding ourselves in a situation where our bins are overflowing with smelly food. People are cleaning it up after themselves, or they're just taking it outside to the bins. Yeah,
it seems to, like, as much as people will say, "Oh, it's a thing not having a cafe," and like you say, they're there for hours. It hasn't hindered you in any way.
No.
Like, far from it. Yous have had, in all fairness, and I've been to Geek Retreat, I was at Reset and Engage and all sorts, I've been to these places. They haven't had that same success level, and I think customer retention must be a massive thing for you. You must be finding a lot of repeat business coming through the doors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like I say, so we've got Marcus, Chloe, Joel, Reese now as our members of staff, alongside me and Andrew, who are basically just in to help them now run the store. We purposely wanted to give them as much space to engage with the customers as possible. And we knew that if you're making food or you're making coffees, you're distracted from what it is that people are here to do, which is to play their events. You've got to run the event. You've got to turn over the timer, start the new rounds, make sure everybody's sitting down. If there's any issues in the games, you've got to go and resolve those, keeping the stock floor up to date. Everything that we've done in the last year tells us that not doing food is the absolute right choice for us right now.
And obviously, you mentioned, so like coming away from the business side, you've got a background in software development.
Software development. I studied computer games programming at Aberdeen. Okay. And tried to crack into that industry at the worst time when the financial crises were hitting, and I never managed to get into it. So I went into just general software development after that, and did that for about 8 years. And more recently, I'm now a product manager with Indeed. Okay. So basically a technical background is where I'm at.
So did you, like, what led you to Aberdeen as a university? Did you do like college up here first and then go somewhere else, or was it just straight into...
No, from Aberdeen originally, but I played video games since I was 5 years old. Fair. I always wanted to just make video games. Aberdeen was the only choice. Yeah. For somebody wanting to do video games back when I was applying for universities. There were a couple down in England, but Aberdeen already had established itself as the place to go study video games. So I applied for one course. Yeah, I got in, thankfully, and then did that, and then set about and did a master's, their first professional master's in games development afterwards. Yeah. But like I say, having done the university for 5 years, enjoyed the course, enjoyed what I was doing, I was already starting to tell I'm not as good a programmer as some of these other like very smart people that I was just not on a par with. So I software development after that, and I was fine with the general software development, but it was never really for me. Yeah. As I started to get more senior and grow in the software roles and took on a senior development position when I was working with Andrew at Active Payroll, it was during that time that I sort of realized I don't want to be the one writing the code. I want to be the one helping people write the code or telling people what they should be doing. So in my interview for Indeed, I was applying for a senior software position, but the tech lead and product leader noticed, well, actually, we think you'd be a good fit for product management. Okay. And so I've been doing that now for 5 years, and I think that's what kind of helped with the business side of things as well, where it's very much like I'm broad strokes. I'm now able to look at the bigger picture and also help with development and get hands-on when needs be.
Yeah, it's nice having that broad spectrum of things that you can do as opposed to just being so niche focused. Because I think a lot of people look at like game development, game design, anything along those lines as being very direct. It's like you are just a one-trick pony. You are going this. Like my son just did a game development course at NESCOL, and he's finding the same issue actually that you mentioned with Aberdeen being the primary place. And it's not just for the games side, but even like animation and 3D stuff. There doesn't seem to be a wide array of it available up in Aberdeen for people to study just now.
No, and I don't know if that's in part just because the lecturers get drawn to go to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen obviously have a centre of excellence for video games now that got built while I was studying there. I think it's just one of those things that sometimes a niche area like that, you do just need to go to the hub and meet people where they're at.
Yeah, go and find them. Go and search for us, especially all of us games folks. We tend to like hiding in dark corners. You need to search for us and find us. So you played a lot of video games as a kid. What was your console of choice? Or were you a PC person?
It was Nintendo primarily for
Yeah.
me. I went Nintendo through and through, even when everybody started moving off onto Xboxes and PlayStations.
Yeah.
I would just play at their house. I went through the entire Nintendo lineup up until that point. And then it moved into PC games when I moved out. I moved out at 17
Yeah.
to go study, and immediately it was just like PC games for LAN games were what a lot of people were playing.
Yeah.
The last video game that I really was big into was League of Legends.
Okay.
Back when it was still in beta, so I did that.
Yeah.
I was playing League of Legends for like 7 years, and then eventually met my wife, had a daughter. Who's got time for video games anymore?
I feel you on that one.
So a bit of a break and moved more into board games with my friends. Me and my friends, we'd played video games and we'd done board games as well. At the same time. Mostly started off with Risk and moved into more heavy stuff like Axis and Allies, and generally just growing from there a love of board games. Trading card games was never really my thing. I collected Pokemon, the Star Wars collectible card game. I played a little bit of Magic. I wasn't one for the collectability of it all, so I just let it slide. And then obviously, like I say, Andrew gets me back into it, and it's like, well, here we go. But I didn't start off collecting either. I preferred the limited formats of Magic, so Draft was my favorite. I would just go in. Being able to just go in with your friends, sit down and play without having to set up a deck and manage and store things. That was just the way I preferred to play it. That evolved into Flesh and Blood, which is now Andrew's main game. And I started collecting there. And now Disney Lorcana is probably my main game, but that's because my wife and daughter enjoy playing it as well. So like we can all play together, and getting them to play board games as well and just slowly bringing them into it. But my daughter's 9, and honestly, like, she's more competent at the games than I am.
There's something about the child mindset where they can just latch on and pick these things up so quickly. My son's 19 now, so he's at the stage where he'll be sitting playing through games, and I'm watching, just going, just no, my brain couldn't do it.
Time for that.
My brain couldn't do it. I was like you. I had original Nintendo, SNES, N64, GameCube, everything that I worked my way through. And nothing for me will ever beat GoldenEye.
Yep.
And nothing will ever beat GoldenEye for playability factor with your friends, that 4 split screen when you've got everyone in a
Our
group.
big one was Halo.
Oh, okay.
We really got into Halo as our like main game of choice.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. I think those games were a lot more, obviously there's a lot of open world games and stuff that everyone plays now, getting all sorts of things. We mentioned briefly before we came on air that about, I managed to get myself out of the Warcraft phase. They were great to play in groups with people, but I don't think you'll ever recreate that same joy that you had of all 4 people sitting in the same room, trying not to look at your computer screen and knowing exactly what's going on at the same time.
The nonsense that you get up to. Like, well, you're just like, oh, hold on, everybody stop. We're going to go and try this really ridiculous combination of tricks to pull off and see what happens. And I mean, that's what we ended up in Halo, where you're not shooting at each other anymore. You're just driving the buggies around trying to do tricks.
Just racing around trying to enjoy ourselves instead of playing the game the way the developers intended.
Exactly.
I think there's so much development in games these days. The longevity of some games is a massive thing. When you look at, I suppose like GTA is probably the biggest thing. When you look at the length of life that GTA 5 has had, that even now, the more delays that keep getting applied to GTA 6 coming out, doesn't seem to have such a negative impact on the community as much because they're just like, there's still nothing wrong with GTA 5. We'll just carry on playing
we'll just carry on playing the
comes out.
original. And that's what you see with board games as well,
Yeah.
where like the development time for some board games can be years, some can be a lot shorter. Me and Andrew were recently down at the UK Games Expo. I've been going there with my friends for a few years now. This was the first time Andrew's been down. You're talking to developers, people that have literally just scribbled onto a piece of paper their idea, and they're just trying to get it out there and get feedback. And there's one Old King Crown that I remember seeing originally like 4 years ago, and it's been under constant development. And I'm like, I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, there's plenty of other that I can look into while we wait for this next one to come out.
Well, this is it. It's about finding that alternative to keep your mind occupied, I suppose, in the short term.
Yeah.
What has been like the biggest thing for you and Andrew as a pair trying to figure out with it? Has there been any points over the last couple of years where you've been like, we're gonna like one of us is gonna murder the other one here? There's gonna be a clash, or he's been quite lucky because it strikes me as an actual friendship more than it was a business partnership to start with.
Absolutely, definitely friendship first and foremost. I think we have been lucky. I think there's been tense moments, but never a falling out. Never a moment where we've actively disagreed with each other over the direction we should take.
Yeah.
And I think in large part that is because we've tried to model the business after our friendship and how we enjoy playing games. And it's very much this like, well, if everybody just gets to do what they want to do in a socially acceptable way with others, then there's never going to be a need to argue or disagree with each other. There's scope for everybody to enjoy things the way they enjoy things, and live and let live is basically how we're approaching this.
Yeah. So he's obviously, you've said you've got married, you have a daughter. Is Andrew similar situation?
Yep.
Or is he more?
Absolutely. And I mean, his daughter only came about after we'd started the business, and that was part of the decision for him to go full time in April. Was very much like he's juggling a toddler, full time job, second full time job in Thistle Tavern, and it just wasn't making sense. So it's definitely at the point where until we hired more staff as well, like we've always been wary as well. Like, as much as we are being successful, this is our first venture into business. You never know what's around the corner. We're trying to be as cautious as we can. We didn't just want to continue hiring multiple members of staff to try and paper over what was clearly like a problem where we actually want to balance our time a little bit better.
Yeah, that's just throwing more people at the problem never helps to fix it. But I think people are probably like the biggest part of what you guys do. Like, not just the people that work with you, but the community that your kind of business fosters. And like, you see it everywhere you go. You go into Warhammer shops and stuff. It's not 90% of the actual figurines or the painting that gets people involved or keeps people involved. It's that community spirit. How have you found that at Thistle?
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously, when we first opened, the Flesh and Blood community were one of the first that we brought in because that's the game we were playing. We knew these guys. They were basically always going to support us, thankfully.
Yeah. Always a good
But then it was the other communities that showed up after that, the Yu-Gi-Oh community, the Digimon community, and people that were already playing card games in Aberdeen that have come out and came to us and enjoyed their time and have started and they're coming back week in, week out. Yeah. And as they continue to come back, that's where we start to see new people, new faces showing up, and they're starting to come back. And these communities are starting to grow and grow and grow because the lifeblood of a TCG community is new players.
Yeah.
If you're just playing with the same half dozen people week in, week out, it gets stale, it gets repetitive. If your game goes through a lull, that's when people fall out of favor and will move on to other things. Whereas if you've got that continuous cycle of growth and meeting new people, there's always an avenue of, just sitting chatting with somebody instead of you're barely playing the game at that point.
Yeah, I think a lot of people find that with like the D&D community and stuff as well. It's sometimes they fall off because they're constantly running the same DM, the same kind of stories all the time. It gets that lull, that sort of fatigue stage of, now hang on, we've been doing the same thing continuously for too long now. We need new people, we need new everything.
Yep.
And like you say, TCG obviously continues to develop. There will always be new versions of stuff. Lorcana's probably one of the newer ones.
That'll be coming up for its first year. It's got the World Championships this weekend for the first time. We've got Gundam releases in summer.
Okay.
Riftbound, the League of Legends card game in November. Yeah, there's always new card games as well.
But the joy of that new card games is it brings new people to an experience space where they can also experience other card games that they might have never experienced. Like the Gundam, people who enjoy Gundam as a whole might have never looked at other TCG games or other board games or other tabletop RPGs.
Yeah. No.
Now they'll start to find, now that you provide that space for them as a safe space for them to come in and enjoy what they already know, you're opening up different avenues for people as well.
That's exactly it. So we have our Discord community. It's just over 700-ish members now, but we've got the channels for every game, and that's where people will start, is they can start with the game that they're playing. But we're trying to introduce you to other games as well, because a lot of what, like you say, the initial IP draw will pull people in. You might not enjoy it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're not enjoying card games. There's probably something out there, because there's 101 different game systems to be explored.
There's a lot. Yeah.
So it's just a case of like coming in, having that community to speak to people and truly understand like what might be out there. And we've started, and we have seen like it's not a huge number of people that are cross-pollinating into different games, but it's definitely happening, and that will only continue over time.
Yeah, you get the cross-pollination of people into games, but then it's the cross-pollination of people to people. And it's what we try and do with this thing. We understand that people connect with people. It's such a huge thing that too many people look at. People don't connect to a brand or a property as such. They connect to the people involved with it. It's like you can enjoy a great TV series, but if you start having a conversation with other people who enjoy that TV series, you might find that the community of people or their attitude to things are just enough to put you off the thing entirely. I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
I know the internet wrestling community are a nightmare. But wrestling as itself isn't a bad thing. Sometimes it's just the community that's involved with it that can be enough to put you off ever looking at a property ever again.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I mean, fortunately for us, with trading card games and a lot of this like nerd culture and like the certain area that we're in, we don't have those issues, fortunately.
Thankfully.
Thankfully. Like I say never, but yeah, we've managed to establish a presence and already we bring in what I think is a very good, fun group of people that are open and welcoming to newcomers as well.
Do you find yourself going down the same route that Andrew has? Like eventually this will be your full-time thing? Is that an aim, or is that just kind of a, if it happens, it happens?
Definitely never say never. It's certainly not on the roadmap per se just now. But like you say, we've had a very successful first year. We want to continue to grow. Depending on where that growth goes, probably does matter. We've talked about is there going to be a second venue? The second venue might be moving in upstairs or to a bigger premises in Aberdeen, because we were chatting before, we're at capacity, we are full. We need more space in order to continue to grow. So we are going to have to address that problem somehow. And like I say, either a bigger space in Aberdeen, or a new space somewhere else in Scotland or further afield. We haven't looked too much into that, but that's quite possibly somewhere else we go. The website continues to grow. We are working actively with an ad agency who's helping us with online ads, SEO content, updating our website. Basically, we do have ambitions now to grow and be like an e-commerce business in trading card game space specifically, alongside board games and other accessories you would expect. Think of your Magic Madhouses, your Zatus, trying to become one of them. And yes, absolutely. If we're going to grow to a large conglomerate, I could see myself going full-time to help manage that side of the business instead.
Just take a unit each.
Basically,
just compete against each other.
The difference between the physical premises and online is bad for us, because most of our success came from in-store. Yeah. It was like 60% of our revenue this year was from in-store, and that's not something we expected at all. We absolutely assumed the online sales would cover the costs of the physical store. Yeah.
Have you noticed, is it a continued growth? Obviously, during that first year of having the online, you'll have noticed growth to a certain percentage over that space of time. How quickly has that accelerated since you put the actual physical store in as well? Has the website grown alongside that, or has it outstripped it, or like which, just on a growth percentage? Obviously, it's taken more in store, but
Yeah, no. So basically, what happened was because we were able to focus full time on the store, the online store, and growing that, it was continuing to grow. And then we opened the store, and obviously now our attention is much more focused on the physical store instead. So our online sales started to dip at that point. There was very little sales from Aberdeen going out. So we knew that already our online presence is like the rest of the country. So the only reason it stopped or slowed down was because we'd stopped putting effort into it.
Yeah.
So when we noticed that, that was immediately our triggering point to be like, oh, well, we could either stop the online stuff entirely or we need help to manage the online stuff. And that's where we started to expand out and look into the contact. And now that we've got some focus back on the online store and the physical store at the same time, yes, they're both just growing at the same rate.
it'd be nice to see them both just continue to progress at the same. Because, like you say, having those two different avenues, the last thing you want is to see one fall off. Because that was literally your starting point. That was your bread and butter. That was your. This is what we are. This was what we intend to be. So you don't want to see it disappear altogether.
No, absolutely not.
That would suck. See, we did the opposite. We got the office. We did everything. And then went, oh yeah, we should probably have a website to go with this. If we're going to do bookings and stuff, we should probably have an online presence or an online space.
It's funny. A lot of people would forget that, and I think looking up and down Union Street and then high streets in general, and like people complaining about shops closing, especially with trading card stores.
Yeah.
A lot of them will close with never having shipped an order online. And you're like, well, okay, so our Aberdeen population, somewhere sub 300,000 these days still, UK population 6 to 8 million. I know which market I should be targeting.
Yeah, well, this is it. You get not just the UK market, but then you talk beyond the UK
We do.
market
We ship internationally. Yeah, when Lorcana launched, naturally, like again, we weren't doing ads at this point, but naturally we just started to get an influx of Japanese customers, and some of those have been repeat for the rest of the year now as well. And it's mad to see that of all the online stores in the world, they're still picking us.
Well, one of our earlier guests, and you'll have mentioned it, Adam Joji from Grip Sports. He, again, local lad, local business, online. Even he says now that 36% of his sales come from America.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's amazing how just that little, people don't look at a website as the same way as they do a physical store for some strange reason. I don't understand it. It's like, have the website, you can reach more people.
Yep.
You can do more things.
And a lot of people will assume, oh, it's social media.
Yeah.
I don't do social media, so I'm not going to do online.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Again, we barely do social media. That's definitely one of our biggest downfalls is me and Andrew, we're not like social media people. Yeah. I mean, obviously here I'm a very sociable person, but I'm not a social media person, which is completely different. We're again looking at that because that is definitely an avenue that we should approach and try and grow because it'll help everything overall. But you do not need that to do online. And obviously, with the advent of AI, starting an online store there's almost no reason not to at the moment.
There's so much help. Like I've spoke about it in a couple of other episodes as well. We're not adverse to AI. We were very much anti-AI to start with because Z's a digital artist, and it's the whole so much digital art everywhere these days. What is going on? But even we've grown to realize, hang on, AI is a tool. Use it as a tool. It's not a replacement. It's not a takeover. It's not to be used in place of. So again, we've said it on 2 previous episodes. Please use AI if you have it, but use it responsibly. And if you use AI for creating content, dear God, tell people.
Yeah.
There's so many people who put things out and it's just like, it's AI, but you've claimed that you've done all this by yourself. You clearly haven't.
It's definitely the balance. I'm a fan of AI. I think AI is certainly helping me professionally, and even business professionally. There's been times where we've had to fill out forms or complete business plans, things that I've never had to do before and would have taken a lot longer without the help of AI.
We do it for a lot of refinement, I think, which is one of the key things for us now. So before we put out any social media posts, any business posts, we'll type everything up for ourselves so it has our flair to it. And then professionalize it by running it through an AI thing of some sort of just make this a bit more professional for us, a bit more appealing to a specific target audience or something, which again is okay because you're still doing the work yourself. You're just it's no different than having
An editor take a look.
Exactly. Writing an article and saying, do you mind having an editor read over this? Or an editor read over a book before it's released. It's just a digital version of that.
Yep, exactly. And then for people that have, like I say, if you've never done something before, AI is now the tool to help you get there. It's not going to make you an expert, and it is not a replacement for a professional doing the best job they can. But for you to get started, it is definitely the right way to think about things.
Yeah, it's worth using. There's a lot of avenues to explore with AI.
Because a lot of people might be going down the route of like, well, I do home crafts. I'd like to sell them. I'll sell them on Etsy. And Etsy's fine, but you're in a marketplace competing with literal millions of other users. Yeah. Whereas if you branded up your own website and started to push things that way, it's amazing how quickly something like that can just start to spin and take off. And a lot of that is through just like optimization. AI can help you start that, but it is no replacement for a professional coming in and helping speak to you, understanding your business and building something that works specifically for you.
Yeah. How caught, like with AI and websites and all sort, how caught up do you get in the analytics side of things for like looking at website traffic and everything else?
So, I mean, a lot of that comes from being a product manager where data is my thing. So not as much as I would like to be. And again, that's just in part because I'm not doing this full time.
Yeah.
I'm working on, we look at the analytics and we can see what is selling well and what we'll try and sell more of. The biggest problem for us as a business is just trading card games in general. You cannot get enough stock. They do not print enough cards for the demand that is out there. So as much as we can look at our analytics and say, oh yeah, Pokemon's popular, there's no way for us to actually capitalize on that.
Just looking at it going, we'd love more of those. That would sell great. None.
Yeah, that's exactly what we have to do. Andrew works tirelessly to make sure that our shelves are fully stocked and we have a wide range. And I think, again, that's been like one of the biggest comments we've gotten from people who have visited from out of town is just, oh my God, you've got so much stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, we do.
Yes, please buy it. We have nowhere to store this. We have no storage space left.
Exactly. Please buy it so we can buy more. Because it's been fully on growth mode. Like, me and Andrew haven't taken money out of the business. We're not trying to like pay ourselves massive dividends and capitalize on this. It's purely been like every penny of profit is just straight back into the business to keep us growing.
I think that's like we've heard again from someone in the past about like businesses run on cash. And if you haven't got the cash flow there to capitalize on that thing when you get the opportunity to, if you're paying yourself a lot of money and not leaving the money in the business to actually go and get the things when you need to get them, when the old strike when the iron is hot thing, it would kill you.
And that's definitely where a lot of people might be adverse to business loans or taking out loans to help tide them over. We're not. Like Shopify Capital has been the only thing that has been allowing us to do what we've needed to do to grow. Where taking a sensible loan and turning that into tangible assets that you can move on to make more money. That's how businesses operate. My mum was like, I hope you're not getting yourself into too much debt. And it's like, we're getting ourselves into the right amount.
Yeah.
And it's purposely done.
Yeah.
It's the best way to grow.
We're getting ourselves into the debt that will allow us to get out of that debt.
Yeah.
The debt now is to ensure that we don't get debt further down the line. We have found, funding actually is a big thing for businesses. And I want to get your own opinion on not so much the funding side of things, but access to funding. Like it seems to be a big thing for a lot of small startups now of just trying to navigate the ways that money is available to you. Did you have any help or anything with that to start with?
So we initially worked with Business Gateway, who pushed us onto the Business Bank of Britain, which is where we got our startup loans from. And then obviously there was extra incentives for us, thankfully, through our Union Street and Aberdeen City Council startup grants as well. A lot of those little things just got us over the line from having, not having to put in a lot of actual tangible cash ourselves to get going. But it's funny you would say that because I'm also just like being in the tech space. I read about startups and funding and venture capitalists and there's millions out there for us.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is. I still can't. Like I've been running the business for a year now and I'm still very much like, it seems like we should have access to more money. We don't know where it is.
We're constantly being told that there is money there, but no one's. It's like trying to knowing a pirate has buried his treasure somewhere,
A little
and
bit.
no one has given you the map to find out where this treasure
A
actually
little bit.
is.
I feel like I could probably speak to some people that I know that have gone through like for tech companies and startup. It seems like there's a very specific route. I feel like for commerce and retail, it's a completely different ballgame. I don't think people want to take the same risk where a lot of our turnover is through stock, so buying and selling of assets, whereas people are much more willing to like give that chance or money to somebody who has an idea and can just build it, and then it's a SaaS thing. So the money that you're now making is just pure profit basically at that point, and you're just maintaining it,
keeping it going. How important do you think businesses like yours are to Union Street as a whole? Because you've mentioned our Union Street. We spoke beforehand about the difference of your location compared to where some other stores are possibly located within Union Street. There's all this work going on. How important do you think small local businesses like yours are to the regeneration of a high street?
Small, local, and that third space. I think the one thing that I've taken away from the year is how far people are willing to travel to come and play their game on a Tuesday night till 11 o'clock. Folk from West Hill, Kings Wells, some people from further afield. I think there's somebody who comes in from Banff to play weekly. And it's like, if you've got something that they cannot get at home, and that's where a lot of retail suffers, you can get all the retail you could possibly want at home. Again, board games, trading card games, Dungeons & Dragons, role-playing, you can get that at home and online, but it's that interpersonal connection, your friends, the welcoming atmosphere. Again, it's even just the space. If people are living in a cramped small flat or still staying at home with their parents, they don't necessarily have space to go and play their games with their friends or invite them over, whereas we offer that. And I think that's what's important to just high streets in general, is like having spaces that people are going to go and sit and hang out. Because although we said people come into the shop, they'll be there maybe from... I've seen people come in at 4 when we open till 11 when we close at night. That's 7 hours. What they're doing is they're nipping out to the shop. They might order in food, so they're making use of the local facilities. Obviously, the difference for us is a lot of those facilities close at 5.
Yeah.
So if more of the shops were open later around us, like us, I think you would start to see that sort of nightlife economy start to come together. Because although a lot of our players are students, I myself am not. I work 9 till 5. I can't possibly nip out in the middle of the day to go and play games anymore. So for me, going into town for shopping either is a weekend thing, and because it's busier at the weekend, it's an in and out type thing that I'm going for.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm in the shop till 11 o'clock at night and I finish a game, I can just quickly nip out and get something.
I think that destination thing is a massive deal. I still say retail isn't a destination thing. It's experience is a destination thing, and people will travel for an experience, which is what they get when they come into a store like yours. They're not just coming in for something that's purely transactional. And I think that's something that's missing from high streets, especially in Aberdeen. The current area that's closed, and sorry, rant, I've gone on one before. I firmly believe that area that is currently closed should be done the same way that Broad Street has been done, so that it's buses only and really open up the actual personal space that people can use, and have venues like yourselves in that core space, somewhere that people can go to and spend time there, not necessarily spend money there. Because the more time you spend somewhere, you will naturally spend smaller amounts of money over that time anyway. Yeah. But give them a destination and an experience they can go to.
That would certainly be my hope as well for Aberdeen and other cities in general, is definitely more like catering to the needs of the shifting needs of people nowadays. Because obviously, I think, decades ago, the convenience of nipping out of your office to go to the shop and just pick up something on your lunch break, that was how people shopped. That's just the way of it. With the advent of the internet and online shopping, you don't need to leave your desk to buy that thing that you were thinking of picking up. You can just order it and it'll get delivered at home. And we're even more so away from that. with working from home, again, less people are in the office, or there's people with flexible timing. So you don't have that congregation of lunchtime shoppers between 12 and 2 anymore. So why should you open a shop when realistically the majority of people are free in the evenings?
Yeah.
So I think there's, and again, with our shop, we've always talked about, like, should we be open during the day to try and catch people on their lunch breaks? And we opened during Christmas. We opened a couple of bank holidays. We just don't see it. Like, we'll see people coming in for a browse, which is great to see, but not an actual purchasing or sitting down to play games, which is what we have in the evening, because that's when people are free.
Yeah, that's smart managing, knowing what your customer base is, what your key demographic is that are going to come in and use that space, and knowing their availability. I'm glad you've mentioned that about the time, because so many people, again, like we mentioned with the website side of things, it's an avenue that people don't look at very much with their business. They just look at do people want this? Yes or no. It's not a case of, yes, okay, when do they want it?
Yeah.
Because like I say, it's completely different. People don't have the time. I mean, God, I worked in newsagents when I was a kid. The amount of people who would come in on that lunch break, they'd be nipping in and grabbing stuff, then nipping out again. And even when I was younger, when I started working, it was like, Christmas shop, and I've only got an hour left on Christmas Eve. I need to nip out in my lunch break and get to these shops and do things.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd had the availability in the evening, God, I miss late night shopping in Aberdeen sometimes.
Yeah.
Thursday night, late night shopping used to be one of the busiest nights in the whole of the city centre.
Yeah. And I think as more potential destinations like ours were to open up, and there would be a reason for somebody to think, oh yeah, I'm going to go in and I'll do my thing, but then I can nip out to the shops as well in between my hobby, rather than it being I'm going to nip out during my lunch break.
Yeah.
Because I think the tide is definitely just shifting on that, like, lunch hour rush.
Yeah. I mean, even I play golf. I literally came from the golf course to sit and record this. We find that now as well. A lot of people used to go out and play like first thing in the morning before their work would start. Now there's a lot more people who are finishing their working days earlier and coming out and doing stuff in the evening instead. But it's the local golf clubs around them are open from like 10 in the morning. And it's like, there's no point opening at 10 in the morning if people aren't out playing at that point in time, and then closing at 5 when people are finishing their work at 5, coming out playing around and looking for somewhere to sit afterwards. That management of time is massive. And it's nice to hear that you guys have got that kind of nailed down.
I think so. We're very happy with our opening times. I think there are people that would like us to be open earlier.
Yeah.
A few students that should probably be at college, but
yes,
are not. But but like I say, from a business point of view, that just doesn't make sense, because actually what we probably want to end up doing is like the mornings and early afternoon. That's when we're packaging our orders from overnight to get them shipped out in time, because we fortunately get our collection at 5 o'clock. So we've got a small window of opportunity where if folk are ordering from us the night before, we'll try our hardest to get it shipped out the next day.
So is everything I'm guessing before like the physical store came in, when it was just the online stuff, did you have like a specific storage space, or was it just
Andrew's garage?
I was going to say, was it
it was unfortunately all at Andrew's house, and the sooner we were able to move that out of there for his wife, the better. But
is everything now just shipped out from the store then?
Everything is now shipped out from the store, yeah. Exactly. Much more manageable. Like, to begin with, it was fine. It's a couple of cards on Andrew's desk, and it was slowly growing and growing. And then in the run up to having the store opening, we were buying in stuff to have the store opening, and his garage did get a little bit overflow.
It's like, do you have a car? I don't know anymore. I have a garage, I don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
Like our entire setup that we've posted on our page here, this used to be our bedroom. Not in here, but all this used to be in a bedroom. And after moving it out, it's now at the stage where it's like, hang on a minute, did we have all that space before? You don't realise just how much it actually takes up until you've cleared it all out again and given yourself the space.
Yeah, exactly. No, so having the store, and like we said earlier, we're even starting to run out of space in the store. We just couldn't possibly have imagined, like, it seemed like the perfect venue, and in a lot of ways it still is the perfect location for us, the shop. Being an old bank, it was fortunately left in a very good condition. When Virgin Bank moved out, there was very little we had to do. I think the biggest thing we had to do was remove the old server rack that they'd left behind, which is a couple of screws.
Fair.
The storage unit, the space that we had, we were also just like, oh, there's no way we'll fill all this. It's brilliant. It's great. A year later, and we're just like, that was fast.
It's like, this did not go how we expected. Now we need more space.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that coming. Well, listen, look, it's been great having you come in and chat to us. one of the things I'm asking all of our guests before we wrap things up is this is a chance for local businesses to tell their story. Who or what business do you think has a story that's worthwhile telling? Who should we try and get on for a future episode? What business do you think? Give them a bit of a feature. Who's got a good story to tell?
I'd be interested to hear a little bit more from Chris at Vintage Toys
Okay.
about him opening his store. We knew Chris because he helped set up the events at Pataudry,
Yeah.
Toy Fair and the card show. I think it'd be interesting to hear how he's moved from events management and how he's finding things.
And from a massive storage container that he used to have for all his online trade and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, you've heard it here. Adina, you've both heard it. Get in. I mean, they're literally downstairs.
They're literally down the stairs.
I could probably open the window and shout this down. Well, listen, long may the success of Thistle continue. It's great to see local people with a local business making success locally. Yes, globally, fair enough with the website, but seeing the success of your, what do they call them for stores now? The brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar stores,
That's the
yeah,
one.
exactly.
Seeing the success of that is wonderful to see. Thank you for coming in, and long may the success continue.
No problem.